Good morning, children.
Good morning, ma'am.
We were learning about manure and fertilizers, and you learned what is meant by manuring. Today, we'll be learning more about manure and fertilizers. Who can tell me what is meant by manuring? Baja, what is manuring? From the term itself, you will get an idea.
And the process of adding manure to the fields for replenishing the soil.
With the nutrients, so that when you add manure, the soil nutrients will get replenished, used up nutrients. Already while cultivating plants, the nutrients will be taken up by those plants. So when you add manure, it will help in replenishing, or the soil will regain all those nutrients. So now let us learn more about manure first. Manure is an organic substance, and it is obtained by the decomposition of plant or animal waste. Manure, it's natural, it's an organic substance. And how are we preparing it? By the decomposition of, and who will carry out the decomposition? Microbes like bacteria and fungi. They will decompose both plant and animal waste, and they will form manure. And these microbes, bacteria and fungi, they will break down the complex substances with which the body of plants and animals are made of into simpler substances. And these nutrients will be broken down, or they are converted from complex substances to simpler ones. Clear? Is that clear? Yes. Manure is an organic substance. It is obtained by the decomposition of plant or animal waste. So if you want to set up some compost pit at home, you can dig a big pit at the backyard of the house, and you can dump all the domestic waste there. Okay, and then if cow dung along with that cow dung can be added, all the plant and animal waste etc can be dumped there, and by the action of the microbes they'll get decomposed and they'll get converted to compost or manure, which can be used for increasing the fertility of the soil. So manure is an organic substance which is obtained by the decomposition of plant or animal waste. It doesn't contain any synthetic chemicals. They are completely natural. There are several advantages of manure. When you compare it with fertilizers, manure has got several advantages. So in your textbook, some of the advantages are listed. So let's see them one by one. They will increase the water holding capacity of the soil. So they will help the soil to retain water. So some amount of water retention is also very important, so that the plants can absorb water from the soil. If the entire water present in the soil gets drained off, the plants cannot absorb it from the soil. You know that the source of water and nutrients for plants is soil. It's from the soil they absorb the water. So when you add manure to the soil, it will help in improving the water holding capacity of the soil. That's our first advantage. Now moving on to the second advantage. It will make the soil porous. Porous means what, children? Soil becoming porous means there'll be pores or spaces in between the soil particles. And the spaces in between the soil particles are also very important. These spaces will, what will be present in those spaces? Air. These are air spaces. And why air spaces are needed?
Exchange gas easily.
Exchange of gases, or the plant parts or the roots and all can breathe easily. That is very important. And the different microbes, earthworms, etc. surviving in the soil, they also need air to breathe. So soil will be made porous, which will facilitate better exchange of gases. Then, when manure is added, that will also promote the growth of useful microbes. Useful microbes also will be growing in the soil. If we add manure, it will promote, it will enhance the growth of these friendly or useful microbes. And the last point, it will improve the texture or appearance of the soil. The nature of the soil as such will be improved. It becomes better. So 4 advantages of manure. It will improve its water holding capacity. It makes the soil porous so that the gaseous exchange can take place easily. It will promote the growth of friendly microbes. It will improve the texture of the soil. So these are the 4 advantages of manure. Once again, it makes the soil porous. It will increase the water holding capacity of the soil and helps in the growth of friendly microbes and also improves the texture of the soil. Got it, children? The points?
Yes, ma'am.
Who is going to define manure? Parvati. What is meant by manure?
Manure is the organic substances added to the soil to replenish the nutrients.
Agreed. But how are they formed, Parvati? How are they formed? How can you make manure? Parvati, you know the answer?
Organic.
It's
by the
organic.
decomposition.
Yes, by the decomposition of plant and animal waste. And we learned 4 advantages of manure. Angelia, tell me 1 point. Any 1 point. Any 1 advantage. Angelia, Carolyn. Carolyn, I can't hear you. Any problem with audio?
Ma'am, my video is on.
Yes. Yes, Pranav?
Ma'am, is it my video on?
Now it is on. Now it is on. Okay. Carolyn, sorry, I can't hear you. Amna Shirin.
Yes, ma'am.
Any 1 advantage?
It enhances the water holding capacity of the soil.
Very good. It enhances the water holding capacity of the soil. Amal, another point.
Improve the texture of the soil.
It improves the texture of the soil. Yes, Lakshmi.
Ma'am, it makes the soil porous due to the exchange of gases
Not due to the exchange of gases.
makes the exchange of gases.
Helps in the it helps in the exchange of gases. When pores are there, it will help in the exchange of gases. 1 more point is there, no? Sriram.
Ma'am, it increases number of friendly microbes.
Yes, it will improve the number of friendly microbes, or it will increase the growth of friendly microbes. Why? Why it is necessary, children? Is there any advantage if these microbes are growing in the soil?
Yes,
Are they of any use?
Compose the plant and animal
They
waste.
can make more nutrients.
Exactly. So they'll break down all these substances, organic substances, and they will release humus. They will increase the humus content of the soil. When we learned about ploughing, we had learned about
Yes.
bacteria, earthworms. They'll further turn and loosen the soil, and they will add humus to the soil. Okay, now let's learn more about fertilizers. Yes.
Ma'am, humus is nutrients.
The organic matter present in the soil is humus that will increase the fertility of the soil.
Ma'am, can you hear me?
Oh yes, Angelia. Earlier I was not able to hear you. I think your video got stuck. Okay, Angelia, no problem. Your chance is on the way. Okay. Next question will be to you. Yes, fertilizers. Fertilizers are chemicals, whereas when we learned about manure, I told it doesn't contain any chemicals, purely natural, but fertilizers consist of synthetic chemicals. We artificially make them. We make them in factories. Yes, fertilizers are chemicals which are rich in a particular nutrient. See, when you take the case of manure, it will have so many nutrients. We cannot specify that this manure is rich in nitrogen, the other manure is rich in phosphorus. We cannot differentiate like that. Small amount of different nutrients will be present in the manure, but fertilizers are not like that. We are making it according to our need. To suit our needs, we are preparing it in factories. So we can prepare fertilizers which are rich in nitrogen. Fertilizers which are rich in phosphorus, or if you want a combination of different nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, you can make fertilizers having a combination of these three. So they can be rich in particular nutrients because these are being prepared artificially in the factories. Examples: urea, ammonium sulfate, superphosphate, potash, NPK. NPK, N stands for nitrogen, P for phosphorus, K for potassium. So NPK fertilizers contain a combination of these three nutrients. And children, there are so many disadvantages for fertilizers, but at the same time, when compared to manure, they have some advantages, like they are very compact. Means easy to carry, easy to transport, easy to apply, because they are not bulky like manure. Manure will be very bulky, they occupy so much space, difficult to transport. But manure, we get it in powder form, pellet form, easy to apply, easy to transport. Those advantages are there. But if you think about the pollution it creates, in the long run, the damage it causes to living organisms and soil, then it is always better to substitute them with natural substances, that is manure. Fertilizers will help the farmers to get better yield. It goes without saying, as the name suggests, fertilizers, they will increase the fertility of the soil. But that is in the beginning, means when we are using it in limited amounts, it will definitely increase the fertility of the soil and the crops will give better yield to the farmer. And the farmer will get happy and they will try to add more and more, thinking that the yield should become better and better. But if you use them excessively, it will create harm rather than giving us benefits. Excessively, if we use these fertilizers for a long period of time, they can cause pollution. They can reduce the fertility of the soil. Children, the names of these fertilizers you should know: urea, ammonium sulfate, superphosphate, potash, NPK. And excessively, if we use these fertilizers, they can make the soil less fertile, not immediately. This change is not happening within a day or two. But we are using fertilizers for a long period of time, and that too in excess amounts that is required. This can gradually reduce the fertility of the soil. Okay? I'm not saying that as soon as we add fertilizers, immediately the fertility of the soil will go. It's not like that. It will definitely increase the fertility temporarily. But when you use them in excessive amounts for a long period of time, that will disturb the pH value of the soil. I don't know whether you have learned about pH value. You will learn in higher classes. Oh, okay. So it will
Acid and
it can become acidic or alkaline. The pH value can get altered, and the fertility of the soil can be lost. And fertilizers, they can cause pollution. Land pollution can be there, and sometimes these fertilizers, after applying these fertilizers, if it rains or if we irrigate, excess amount, some amount will be absorbed by the plants along with water. But if you're using them excessively, the excess amount can be washed away into some water bodies nearby. Once it reaches the water bodies, these are chemicals. So these chemicals, once it reaches the water bodies, it will affect the different organisms, both plants and animals living in these water bodies. Are you getting the point?
Yes, ma'am.
Fertilizers have some benefits, but at the same time, there are harmful impacts. There are very severe harmful impacts of these fertilizers. And that is why we say, as far as possible or wherever possible, substitute them with manure or substitute them with organic substances. And now farmers or even different organizations, they are promoting organic farming. Organic farming is a farming method where no or less use of chemicals are practiced. They don't use chemicals in the form of pesticide or fertilizer. Instead, everything they use which are of biological origin, biopesticides, biofertilizers. Like one example for biofertilizer is, I think 8th standard you have learned, no? You are in 8th standard. Okay, so you'll be learning in next chapter, sorry. So biofertilizer, for example, nitrogen fixing bacteria, like rhizobium bacteria. Have you heard? In class 7, I think
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
oh, it's a biofertilizer because it will help in increasing the fertility of the soil, and it is living. It's a biological origin, means it's a living organism promoting or to helping in the increase of fertility of the soil, or it will enhance the fertility of the soil. So such substances are being used. Always better to substitute it with organic manure, or another method is by leaving the field fallow. This we had already discussed. Leaving the field fallow means to leave the field without cultivating anything. Like in some cases, after harvesting one crop, immediately the farmer will plant the next one. Once that is harvested, then he will go for the third set. Like that, it will be continued. But that is not a good practice. Why? Because if we are continuously growing these crops, all the nutrients present will be used up. And then the soil will be lacking in nutrients. So when the nutrients are less in soil, we cannot cultivate, or we will not get better yield. Then we will be forced to add fertilizers to regain the nutrient quality of the soil. But if you're leaving the field fallow, giving some time in between the crops, then soil will regain nutrients on its own with the help of all these decomposers. So we have to leave the field fallow, or leave it uncultivated in between two successive cultivation, or in between two successive crops. You have to give them some time, give the soil some time for regaining, for replenishing the nutrients. So two techniques we learned to avoid fertilizers. One is using organic manure. Second method, by leaving the field fallow. One more method is there, that is known as crop rotation. So about crop rotation, we will learn. And after that, I will come to the differences between fertilizers and manure. Crop rotation. Crop rotation means growing
for exam.
only pages 1 to 5. What all topics are given in these pages from 1 to 5 only will be asked for the exam. Portions are posted in the class group. Okay. Growing different crops on the same field in a pre-planned succession, that is known as crop rotation. Okay. Growing different crops, and that too on the same field, but not at the same time. Point to be noted, these crops are not cultivated at the same time, but they are grown on the same field. And the farmer will decide beforehand, first I should plant this, and once I harvest, I should go for this particular plant in the next season. Once I harvest it, then I should go for the next one. So in the beginning itself, he will plan. That is why we say it is pre-plan. And succession means the order in which the plants are cultivated. So in the beginning itself, the farmer will decide a combination. So in the figure, what you can see is different years. Okay, it's not necessary that it should be cultivated in different years. Even within the same year, different seasons also we can practice crop rotation. One season a particular crop, next season another crop. So even between, or even in the same seasons, different seasons of the same year also you can practice crop rotation, or in different years. So year 1, year 2, year 3, like that it is marked. So, but farmer already prepares. Beforehand, he will decide what should be the order of crops, what all crops I should cultivate within that particular period of time. And the choice of these crops is also very, very important. And always farmers will see that he includes one leguminous crops in between. Maybe he is cultivating wheat. Wheat is a cereal crop. So after harvesting wheat, he will cultivate a leguminous plant. Then he can go for another cereal crop. Then again he will crop some leguminous plants. What could be the reason, children? What is the reason?
What is leguminous plants?
Leguminous plants means we like pulses, like pea, gram, all that come under leguminous plants. We call them as legumes. Leguminous family.
Tamarinds come under leguminous plant.
Tamarind, no, it's not a leguminous plant. I will give you examples, all the different pulses, dal, gram, different grams, all that come under leguminous. And here clover is given in this picture. That is also a leguminous plant. There are some specialities, or there is a unique feature for this leguminous plant that I will explain. But I just want to check whether you know. Do you know what is the advantage of growing these leguminous plants in between? Anybody?
Helps the soil in replenishing nutrients.
That is there on the screen that you can read. But other than that,
It doesn't absorb, they absorb only less nutrients.
no, I will tell you. Wait. See, leguminous plants, they have special type of roots. Means on their roots, just imagine this is the root of a leguminous plant. And on its roots, you can see some small bubble-like structures. Sac-like or bubble-like structures are there. Okay. Some structures like this are present on its roots. Leguminous plants are provided with certain nodules or certain bubble or sac-like structures, and we call them as
nodules.
Yes, we call it as root nodules. And what is special about these root nodules? If you see,
Contain rhizobium
or if you
bacteria.
check it under a microscope, a cut section of this root nodule, you will find inside the root nodules, there are several bacteria. And the name of the bacteria
Rhizobium.
present is known as rhizobium. And these rhizobium bacteria, we call them as nitrogen fixing bacteria. Why do you call them as nitrogen fixing bacteria? Can anybody say? What is the reason?
Increases the nitrogen of the soil.
How do they increase the nitrogen content?
They take atmospheric nitrogen and
Convert it into
soil nitrogen. Nutrients.
soluble nitrogen compounds. You know that in the atmosphere, major part of the atmosphere is made up of nitrogen. Major
Yes.
gas present. What is the percentage? 78%. 78% is nitrogen. But why plants need the help of these microbes? If these are plenty in the atmosphere?
Because plants
Soil
cannot
absorb.
Yes, exactly. They cannot use the nitrogen present in the form of gas. They can absorb only it in the soluble form. It has to be converted to compounds. And these compounds will dissolve, or this will combine with water, and they can absorb it in that way. So that is why they are taking the help of these bacteria. These bacteria can convert the nitrogen present in the atmosphere into soluble compounds of nitrogen. So nitrogen gas will be taken by them, and they will convert them into nitrogen compounds and add it to the soil, which can be absorbed by plants. So what happens is, I told you, in a particular season, farmer is cultivating wheat. So wheat is not having any root nodules. So the nutrients present will be utilized by them, and nitrogen is a very, very important nutrient necessary for the proper growth of plants. So what happens is, after cultivating it, already the nitrogen present in the soil will be used up by the wheat plants. And in the next season, if you are cultivating another cereal crop, nitrogen will be lacking in the soil. So we will have to add chemical fertilizers to compensate the loss. But instead, if you're planting a leguminous plant, what will happen? They will enrich the soil with nitrogen. So the soil will be having plenty of nitrogen. And in the next season, the farmer can grow a cereal crop because there won't be any shortage of nitrogen in the soil. Yes.
Are peas leguminous plants?
Which one?
Peas.
Yes. Pea. Pea is a leguminous plant.
Okay.
Growing different crops on the same field in a pre-plant succession is known as crop rotation. And growing legumes in one season and cereals like wheat in the next season will help in replenishing the soil with nitrogen. The reason is in the root nodules of leguminous plants, rhizobium bacteria are present. They will fix the nitrogen and increase the nitrogen present in soil. Okay?
Yes,
Clear?
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
What is crop rotation? Isa, what is crop rotation?
Can you show that slide once more?
I will show. Yes, Isa.
Growing crops in the same field on a different time period.
I gave you a term also. 2 terms I use there. Growing different crops on the same field in a, who can help us?
Plant
Yes, pre-plant succession.
succession.
The farmer is already deciding what should be the order. And always farmer will try to include a leguminous crop in crop rotation to plant them in between cereal crops. What is the reason, Aditya and Anoop? What could be the reason?
Because leguminous plants contain one nitrogen.
One nitrogen. Leguminous plants contain one nitrogen. That's why. What is special about their roots, Adityan?
I mean, their roots one bacteria.
Before that, what is the speciality of their roots? Roots are provided with?
Bubbles.
Starting with the N. Nodules. And inside the nodules, what are there?
Bacteria.
Which bacteria? See, what you're going to have for lunch?
Rice.
Which bacterium? Rhizobium. Spelling is different. Their spellings are different, but still to remember it will be easy. Yes. Which bacterium?
Rhizobium.
Rhizobium bacteria. And what is the advantage? Okay, what is the advantage of having these bacteria in the root nodules? Angelia. She missed her chance earlier, so we'll give her a chance. Yes, Angelia.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, can you repeat the question?
What is the role of rhizobium bacteria? If these root nodules in leguminous plants are having rhizobium bacteria, any advantage is there?
It gives more nitrogen.
How? They convert what to what? Atmospheric nitrogen or nitrogen gas into soluble nitrogen compounds. Atmospheric nitrogen, which is in the form of gas, to soluble nitrogen compounds. So repeat, Angelia.
It converts atmospheric
nitrogen
into solid.
Soluble. Which can dissolve in water.
Into solid nitrogen.
Soluble nitrogen compounds.
Nitrogen compounds.
I want it to be told once again. Yes, waiting.
It converts.
It means who converts? Who is converting? You forgot that question. You forgot. Which bacteria?
Rhizobium.
Rhizobium bacteria will convert.
Atmospheric nitrogen into soluble nitrogen.
Nitrogen, one more word.
Soluble
nitrogen compounds.
Nitrogen compounds.
So hope you have understood. Yes?
Yes.
Any doubts?
Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am.
No
Can
doubt.
you show the slide?
Wait, surely I'll show. One more point, not one more point, 2 more points I told other than crop rotation to increase the fertility of the soil without adding fertilizers. Give me those points also, then we'll continue. Tanmay?
Yes, ma'am.
Which are those 2 points, 2 methods by means of which you can reduce the use of chemical fertilizers? Crop rotation is one. Then remaining 2?
Adding manure.
Very good. Adding manure. One more point, Abhinav Bijoy.
And leaving the field fallow.
Okay. What do you mean by leaving the field fallow, Abhinav?
And not growing crops.
Very good, very good. Not growing any crops during that time.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, children. See you next class.
Tata.